It's rare for a fighting game to get a second chance.
But Washiga thinks it's over!
Lock down on your
And the Granblue doesn't care! He took out 65%!
Oh my god!
Washiga, no!
Washiga, not like this! What are you
standing up for?
Over the years, we've seen fighting games come and go without the FGC so much as batting an eye. Granblue Fantasy Versus was one of those games. It released at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic and featured netcode so bad that people basically couldn't play with each other. Even if a game is visually gorgeous and fun to play, once it falls through the cracks, it rarely gets picked back up. But this game was worth reviving. And the developer, Arc System Works, did such a good job that it's going to be included on the main stage at EVO 2024. Like a phoenix from the ashes, this is Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising. You know what we like to see rising? Our subscriber count. So please, hit the red button. Just a quick heads up, the interviews in this video were conducted before the big version 1.30 patch that changed a bunch of things. Although some of the specifics of what we talk about has changed a bit, the player sentiments are still all relevant today. So before you get mad at us for talking about something that's already been fixed, well, now you know why. For those who missed our first video about the game and just need a quick refresher, Granblue Fantasy Versus is a fighting game developed by Arc System Works and published by Cygames, creator of the gacha game Granblue Fantasy. The game features a special move system meant to be more accessible to new players. Each character's abilities can be performed with a single button press, but they can also be performed using motion inputs like a quarter circle, which is harder but has the benefit of increasing the damage of the move. The goal is to be accessible to new players and a little bit easier, at least compared to other anime fighting games.
You know, when you think of anime games, you think of like Guilty Gear Strive or Under Night or it's like some of the really very niche fighting games, and they all have like air dashes and they all have like crazy full screen moves, and you know, they all have like bullshit, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Dude, it's just gapless, risk-free pressure.
This game has bullshit, don't get me wrong, especially in the newest iteration from going from Granblue Fantasy Versus to Rising. One of the things they're like, we need to make this game more anime, so they add bullshit, but still I think it has less bullshit compared to like other anime fighters.
While Rising is a direct sequel to the original game, the game came out with quite a few changes.
If you're looking at gameplay, the main things that changed as we moved into Rising is the introduction of dash normals. It's kind of changed the way that we play neutral, essentially. It went from being a lot of mid-range footsies to you having more of an emphasis on trying to get past that with 6XL and turning that into more meaningful pressure.
One would be the ultimate skills that got added. So for 50% meter, you can basically do a super move. And some of these super moves, you know how I was mentioning the bullshit factor from earlier? This is the bullshit factor, right? Some of these moves go full screen. Some of these grant you a full combo on hit. Some of these let you bust out of pressure. The list goes on, and they're really, really strong. And some of the best characters in the game have the best ultimate skills in the game, and some of the worst characters have the worst ultimate skills. I guess the second would be like the bravery point system. It just kind of like allows additional combos, and it kind of has like this whole like reactionary check in your offense now, kind of like Drive Impact and Super 6.
Overall, Rising felt like a completely new version of Granblue, and it was more akin to a traditional anime fighting game than the previous version. However, the biggest selling point wasn't the mechanic changes. It was how the game was being distributed. While you could buy the game for $50 and get all the features, there's also a free-to-play version, which has full access to casual and ranked online modes, limited access to the story and training modes, and 3 weekly rotating characters on top of Gran, the game Shoto, being permanently unlocked.
Let's do this!
I've played against a couple free-to-play people in tournament, and I know they're free-to-play because I made a lobby and they're like, I can't join the lobby. We have to go to the ship. And a couple of them were actually pretty good. I actually know a couple decent people that are just strictly free-to-play. One of them's a Grand main.
Yeah, Granblue's free. Know what else is free? Pressing the like and subscribe button. Thanks to the free-to-play version of the game, and extra side content like Granblue's Legends, the game's Fall Guy-esque minigame,
This is so goofy.
Granblue was the perfect game for casual fighting game fans. It's easy for them to try out and learn, especially with so many players coming over from the series gacha game.
So if you buy the PlayStation version, you get a code for the gacha game, and so the gacha people will buy it, right? Like there's a lot of casual stuff that definitely helps.
I have a number of friends who I would not generally call fighting game players who are interested in the gacha, and they have downloaded the free version and tried out the story. I think in that front, Cygames has done a really terrific job There's a lot of very cool things. There's like a diorama mode where you can create scenes. There's just been a lot of like care taken to just the general presentation, the little partners you have that talk to you while you're playing, obviously the story. You know, fighting game players don't usually play fighting games for story, but I have plenty of friends who, you know, played the gacha game and they're like, oh yeah, I'm playing through the story mode. And in my head, I'm like, wait, why would anyone ever do that? But to them, it's like the most natural thing. They're having a great time, and that's awesome.
Granblue was a part of the Arc World Tour in 2023 and had a good enough showing that it's also a main title in 2024. Granblue is also a main event game at EVO 2024, with early registration numbers putting it just behind Street Fighter, Tekken, and Guilty Gear. The game is about as popular as you could hope to be, and Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising is really only facing one major issue: balance.
As for the overall balance of the game, I think most people that you talk to will agree that the game's actually in a remarkably balanced state. I mean, all of the characters are incredibly strong. The only problem here is that there's maybe 3 or 4 characters that could do with being nudged up a little bit. Depending on who you ask, it's going to be 4 to 7 characters that need to be brought down. Again, a lot of these characters that are real outliers at the moment will probably be brought in just by universal changes to the system that I think a lot of people would agree need to happen.
The new system mechanics are a little bit overtuned. You know, some of the balance is a little bit out of whack due to new characters or just changes to characters, but being the first version of like almost an entirely new game, it's kind of to be expected that there are some tweaks that need to be made. Overall, I would say that I'm really excited for like a season 2 or like after like a balance update. I think the game will find itself into a very good place.
If the game continues to receive support, it's likely that Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising could be a staple at big fighting game tournaments for years to come. A major reason is just how simple it is to pick up, even for competitors who mainly play other titles.
So, like, let's say you're going to a tournament, you're entering Street Fighter 6, right? If you've ever been to a tournament, it's like a 3-day event, and you might be playing for like 4 hours or 2 hours, right? If you're not good at the game, you're gonna be playing like an hour, right? Because you're gonna go 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, and then you're like, oh shit, what do I do, right? I think for like actual tournaments, I think Granblue is like the perfect game because it's so easy, right? Like there's easy inputs, it's super easy to pick up, it has like casual feel and all the other shit we talked about. So like I think it's gonna stick around, but I don't think it can't compete with the mass appeal of Street Fighter and Tekken, right? Like it's never gonna come to those numbers because they have popularity that branches out besides like the hardcore fighting game scene.
Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising is a huge step up from the previous game, at least in terms of numbers. The last game never really got a chance to shine because of COVID and its issues with online play. Rising is a huge glow up. Granblue has been given a second chance with Rising to finally show off its full potential as a fighting game, especially with how the game's been handled by its publisher. Decisions like the free-to-play version, implementing rollback netcode, and the addition of guest characters like 2B from Nier Automata, the game has a lot of things going for it. Hopefully, the game will continue to build momentum, and we'll see this title as a mainstay in big tournaments for years to come. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the Granblue franchise, check out our last video on the topic right here. Shouts out to Cloud, Steph, B, Pass, Shampoo, and Yashichi for being patrons of the channel. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is much appreciated. My name is Jonah. Thanks for watching.